I'm sure by now that you've all heard of the Toronto van attack carried out by Alec Manassian, and I'm pretty sure by now that a lot of you have read multiple articles which conflate INCELS with ISIS. Now, me, I'm not the one to take shit at face value. If I want to find the truth of something, I'm going to go and see it for myself. I'm going to overturn the rock and see if there are a bunch of fucking creepy crawlies underneath the rock. So anyway, with that being said, sit back, relax, and let's take a look into involuntary celibacy. To begin, I think it's fair to look at the infamous Facebook post of Mr. Manassian, which, holy fuck, upon reading this shit, I thought it was a Poe. I literally did. I mean, check this out. Private Recruit Manassian, Infantry 0010, wishing to speak to Sergeant 4chan, please. I'm sorry, I know that this is serious and all, but I just can't help but think of that whole infamous hacker named 4chan shit when I read that. C23249161, the Incel rebellion has already begun. We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys. All hail the Supreme Gentleman, Elliot Roger. Once again, I'm sorry, I can't help but not laugh at that. Now that we've gone over the infamous Facebook post, I think it's time to go over some stuff in a few articles that I found that's kind of interesting. The apparent connection of recent murders in Toronto to the Incel movement has led to a torrent of commentary. Too much of it has appeared to rationalize Alec Manassian's actions. Just yesterday, New York Times columnist Ross Douthat, I think that's how you say it, made the major gripe that the world denies them sex, into the basis of a kind of seminar room thought experiment, wondering whether a redistribution of sex might be entirely responsive to the logic of late modern sexual life. So, in other words, what this article is saying is that, that incels feel like they're entitled to sex, like they're owed sex. So that's claim number one. Let's move over to another article, shall we? What becomes of the broken-hearted, as Jimmy Ruffin once asked? And the answer is, if we can't make love, let's make war, otherwise known as the Incel Rebellion, a different kind of frenzy. You only need to glance at their websites to see that Incel is now synonymous with violent misogyny and more broadly misanthropy. So we got claim number two. That's all just the acts of misogynists. Here's another one that I found, and I swear to God, much like Manassian's Facebook post, I wondered to myself if this is an actual thought or just a Poe. We could heed recent feminist work on incel ideology. Australian academics Lucy Nicholas and Christina Agius, once again I suck at pronouncing names like that, have written about how involuntary celibates and members of other related subcultures find ways to argue for men's greater oppression and justify male violence. They show how contemporary masculinism is an explicit reaction to the gains of feminist LGBTQ people and others challenging white male supremacy, and how it is tied to the right-wing populism. Okay, so now we have claim number three, that incels are basically neo-Nazis who are just pissed off because homosexuals and queer folk are out and about. So yeah, they're also populists, by the way. So anyway, let's check something else out. So this little couplet was found on the rules and facts section of the website incels.me. So let's get into this. This is just answering some questions, or moderators of Incel.me answering some questions. I've heard about incels encouraging violence or hatred of women. Is that true? Inceldom has no relation with violence, misogyny, or illegal activities of any kind. Every once in a while, when a tragedy happens, the term incel is thrown around and we get an influx of guests. We do not advocate any illegal activity, nor do we allow it on this side. No, I can relate with that because I'm a gun owner, and whenever somebody who's as nutty as a fucking soup sandwich goes in and kills a bunch of people with an AR-15, me and my fellow gun owners, we get blamed for it wholeheartedly. Sometimes more so than the person who actually committed the crime. So anyway, let's take a look at something else. So here's a post on incels.me, and this is very interesting right here. Let's read it, shall we? I'm getting really sick of these news outlets, uninformed journalists, and feminist bloggers looking at you, David. You're in deep shit, David. Calling us terrorists every chance they get. We're not a terrorist group. Hell, we can barely agree on anything, as you can see on this forum. Incels come in all shapes and sizes. Some of us are African American, some of us are Hispanic. We're not from the alt-right. We have incels from all political backgrounds. We're not just all white guys plotting attacks. Most of us wouldn't even hurt a fly. The venting that you see on this forum, most of our members would never act on those tendencies, and they probably wouldn't hurt a fly in real life. We're not behind the scenes plotting the next attack or beheading people on camera like ISIS. So I'd like for the ISIS to incel comparisons to stop. There are radical feminists out there that would like to kill men, or for men to literally be their slaves, and I never see them talked about on the news. Now that is true. That is true. That is 110% fucking true. Okay. People just refuse to see what we're really about. It's really about men being totally fucked in our increasingly feminist society, where every woman is treated like a princess and men are treated like servants. Young women are so entitled and pampered in today's society that they don't care for anyone else's needs but their own. They don't care about the millions of men that have been totally cut out of the whole dating process in general for being ugly. When we ask women on how to improve ourselves, they are pretty clueless and tell us lies like, you need to work on your personality, and there's someone for everyone, be patient. More and more men are being cut from the entire dating process, and it's not because of our personalities, it's because we're ugly and no woman wants to be with us. Society props women up on a pedestal while they continue to ignore men's issues. No one cares about men's issues. They would rather help a woman over a man any day. The majority of the single homeless population are men. No one cares about the sky-high male suicide rates, and no one is willing to talk about it. Once again, that is pretty fucking true. Pretty fucking spot on. In a world where women do have rights and are equal to men, they still bitch and they still moan and they still gripe, and lo and behold, they get treated like their problems actually exist. However, when you bring up the problems of male suicide rates, the fucked judicial system when it comes to custody hearings and all that, nobody cares. So in that last little couplet, we kind of see a comparison between MGTOW men going their own way and the incel community. Now, they really aren't too far apart. However, the main thing that divides the two is the fact that MGTOW, they've usually been in relationships, they've usually been married, they're not virgins, they've been fucked over. the divorce proceedings or anything else of that nature. Now, incels, on the other hand, that's a whole different thing. Incels, they're usually ugly, or they say that they're ugly. Which I mean, for fuck's sake, if you haven't seen a picture of Elliot Rogers or Alec Mania, yeah, they are fairly good looking. Other other incels, and I kind of believe that this is the case for the majority of them. They're just socially awkward, or they've been shot down time and time and time and time again. So they feel hopeless when it comes to this. Now, for the canonizing, or supposed canonizing of Elliot Rogers and Alec Manazian, I have been I have spent days going through incel forums, and I really haven't found anything. You know, I mean, my main sources have been incels.net and incels.me. And incels.me, they even like make it in the rules. They do not condone, praising Elliot Rodger or Alec Manazian. They do not condone that, and that is a bannable offense from or that will get you banned from that website. As a matter of fact, the only thing that I could find at the time when it came to incels hating women, like actual misogyny and actually talking about wanting to kill women, it wasn't an actual thing. I mean, obviously, this shit right here is tongue in cheek. So here we go. Damn these women. Hi, I'm new. Also, I just hate women. They treat me like spoiled milk because of my lack of hygiene and self-care. If they just knew what kind of stuff I put up with on a daily basis, they would die instantly. They couldn't live their lives without sex because of their awful treatment of all men, and completely fixable looks would make them absolutely miserable. Wait, I treat women like shit and like sex objects, although they're people, and I am always gross all the time and put zero effort into changing how I present myself to others. It's almost as if I got myself into the situation. Maybe I should try to change for the better. Nah, I'll just sit here and complain to strangers about the fact that I can't get my dick wet. So once again, obviously tongue-in-cheek. Now, it could just be me, but I haven't really found any actual anything that would lead me to believe that incels are misogynistic. I've yet to find that. Now, it could be that these websites, like, they got scrubbed after the Toronto van attack. It could be that. Or it could be that it's such a minority within the community. I mean, mostly what I saw in my past few days of researching incels, mostly what I saw is a bunch of people who are sexually frustrated and are venting about it. Now, before I give my final thoughts on incels and give end out this video, I just wanted to share one last post with y'all before I end the video, and it kind of helped me formulate my opinion on the incel community. Now, this post was posted by Gremlin Cell, and once again, it just kind of sums up everything in a nice, neat bow when it comes to the majority of those who call themselves incels. Now, let's begin. Let's read it, shall we? Why the hell are any of us still alive? Maybe it is just me, but it seems a lot of you are as miserable as I am. I know they say rope or cope, but daily existence should not be something that one merely copes with. What the fuck is the point of living then? If life is so awful and all we can do is cope until death, the past year or two since I started being black pilled, which for those of you not up on the internet lingo, black pilled is basically it's kind of like coming to grips with the harsh realities of life. That's in a nutshell. That's what black pilled means. So where was I? Where was I? Shit. And became hopeless has been nothing but a long blur of pain and hopelessness. I can't feel positive emotions. There probably hasn't there probably hasn't been even 1 hour in that long stretch of time where I didn't think about killing myself. I am obsessed with the idea. It is my mind's natural response to just about anything at this point. I am so detached from what it is like to be a normal functioning person. I don't feel human anymore. I feel like a fucking ghost wandering this disgusting place for no reason. I don't care about or relate to anyone. I can't enjoy anyone's company, no matter how isolated and lonely I get. And God, I'm so tired of being alone. Sometimes it just hits me. No one is ever going to love me, and there's nothing I can do about that. Every year, every month, day, hour, minute, it's all going to be spent with no one but the voices in my head. Silence and dark rooms forever. How do any of you live knowing that? Excuse me. I can't wait like this in limbo any longer. I have to start taking action before someone forces me into a mental hospital. I have 3 options, and I'm going to decide on one soon. I have to. I will. I can't take rotting any longer. I can start trying to improve myself and my life as hard as I can, harder than ever before, and hope things start getting better. I can make some preparations, then walk to the train tracks near my house and lay my neck on the rail. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the majority of what I came across in these incel forums. That's it. I mean, once again, it could just be me, and if you find something, hey, send it my way. But apart from Alec Mazinia, I've given up on trying to pronounce that dude's last name. But it could just be me. But other than him, I haven't seen anyone lionize, like actually lionize Elliot Rogers. So yeah, that's I just haven't. And if you have something of somebody else within these incel groups, other than 4chan, because let's face it, I don't really take 4chan that seriously, because I mean the majority of the shit that goes down on 4chan and that's posted up on 4chan is just good old anonymous fun, pretty much. So if you can find something of somebody who is incel and is praising Elliot Rodger, then hey, send it my way, and I'll make a redaction. But until then, I'm not going to buy into the narrative that incel equals virgin ISIS. I'm not, and I won't. So, in conclusion, with the whole incel thing, this isn't a case of a group of people who just hate women and want to kill women because they feel like they're entitled to sex. Now, the majority of these people, without a doubt, they're sexually frustrated. They really are. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. However, on the what they are, from what I can tell, is you have a bunch of depressed individuals who get on forums and join these groups and vent. They vent, and I mean, I've never really had to deal with depression, but from what I understand, I have had my share of bad days, and if you vent, then it helps to make things easier. It's really cathartic, Now, so with that being said, there is a few things that I would want to say to anybody who is incel and who is depressed, you know, and feel like there's no hope. There is hope. There's all like there is. You know, I mean, you could call you could say what I'm about to say is optimistic, but hey, I guarantee you that a lot of the time it's going to work. Improve yourself. You know, nobody is going to help your situation but you. You know, you can get on these websites and you can vent all you want, but it's not going to help your situation. Another thing you could do, maybe lower your standards if you're ugly. If you're fat, get into go to the gym or get into sports. If you're going bald, shave the shit. You know, I mean, go full on Jason Statham if you're bald. You know, any of these things, it can help to enhance your appearance. It truly can. You know, take it from me. I grew up in school. I was a little fat kid, and I got my shit kicked in 24/7. And eventually, one day, I said, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to improve myself." And I got into hiking and stuff like that. So there is. That's me lighting a candle instead of cursing the dark. Which, in the end, that's the best thing to do. If you just curse the darkness won't go away. You got to get up off your ass and you got to light a candle, or turn on a light switch, or whatever you want to throw into this analogy. But anyway, so that's been my look into incels. Thanks for watching, guys.
Hey guys, Red Triangle here. Welcome to the end of the video. I'm glad you made it. Anyway, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and most importantly, comment below. Not because I want my stuff to hit the front page of YouTube, but because I genuinely have an interest in what people have to say. Thanks for watching, and peace.